We are live here in the GUerilla Sports Studio. Want to start the show, the stream, however you're watching, welcome. But I want to start by giving a little shout out to all the mothers out there. Happy Mother's Day. My mom is without me at the moment. I did drop off some flowers for her earlier, but she understands she's a big Nuggets fan. And as we were watching the game a little bit, I was like, yeah, I'm going to have to go to the studio and talk with the chat a little bit because this is insane. So, I'm excited to have you guys here. If you guys were with us post game 3, we had a ton of you on here. It was like 3,600 at one point. We were live for 2 hours. We ended at midnight. It was a very late night, but there was so much to talk about. So, really, really excited to have you guys back here. We're going to have some chat comments that we'll read. We're going to have hopefully some sound from Coach Malone. And we'll also toss to BK, who is down in Minnesota. He can give us his perspective on what he saw today, how he feels, how does the team feel. We'll have all of that. We're going to try to keep it within an hour. Like I said, last time we were live for 2 hours because we just didn't want to stop. There was so much to talk about. We were all really excited. So let me retweet the link here and get some people in. But in the meantime, chat, how are we feeling? Are you guys excited? Obviously, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of excitement right now. The series is officially tied 2-2. What's up, Tyler? Glad to have you back. I know you are an OG here in the stream. Great game, great win. I agree. I'm feeling very, very happy right now. Let me just retweet this and tell everybody to come hang out. In the meantime, you guys can keep dropping comments. We'll keep hanging out for a little bit while we get some more people in here. And then we'll jump right into it because what a game. And what a series I think we're about to have between the Timberwolves and the Nuggets. I think most people anticipated this would go the distance. Initially, I had Nuggets in 7. I did, in fact, switch up, but only because the Nuggets switched up did I switch up. And then I said, I think it still goes 7, but might give it to the Wolves based on the Nuggets game 2 performance. Nuggets are back, I know, and it feels so, so good, Snow Wolf. So good. But yeah, based on game 2, I don't think it's wrong for Nuggets fans to have felt defeated and or switched up on their predictions for the series because let's be real. If the Nuggets continue to play like they did in game 2 throughout the series, it wasn't going to be a long one. That was a really poor performance by the Denver Nuggets. I think one of the worst performances by the Denver Nuggets that I have ever seen, especially this championship team, this starting 5 that is arguably the best starting 5 in the NBA. Yeah, it was horrible. So I didn't want to switch up on them, but based on game 2, kind of felt like I had to. Then we go into game 3. They have a very, very convincing win against the Timberwolves on the road. Their first road game really kind of turned things around. Felt like a completely different Nuggets team. They were finally playing Denver Nuggets basketball. We saw them have an electric first half, their best first half, I think, in this year's postseason, best first quarter as well. So really, really convincing win in game 3 that I think kind of helped them get their mojo and their identity back. Like they were finally playing that Denver Nuggets basketball that we know and love. Then we had game 4 tonight. I wasn't entirely sure what to expect, but I knew if they played the same way they did in game 3, yeah, they were going to win. They looked really, really solid in game 3. And then we saw that again tonight. But I'm tweeting at people, guys. Sorry, I'm taking a little break. And my phone is going bonkers right now on notifications. So excuse the vibration. That's annoying. I'm going to move it. Let's talk some specifics about this game. And I want to start with the man that I feel like I've spent a lot of time talking about over the course of the postseason this year. And that is Jamal Murray. Now, rightfully so, I think Nuggets fans have felt a little confused by Mr. Jamal Murray. What version of Jamal Murray are we going to get? Are we getting the buzzer beater Jamal? Are we getting the lights out from the 3 Jamal? Or are we getting ice cold, 0 points in the first half, 3 of 18 version of Jamal? We've had a little bit of everything with him in this postseason, but mostly inconsistent and just not his normal game. I would say across the 9 games now that we've watched this Denver Nuggets team play, there have been 3 of 9 that I felt great about what Jamal Murray was doing. Now, those 3 were huge, tonight being one of them. So I want to talk about Jamal Murray in the sense that I believe this man is in his villain era, and it might be my favorite Jamal Murray era. Let me explain. So Goes from ice cold to buzzer beater. Goes from injury report to 32 on the Lakers' head. Goes from heat pack to a $100,000 fine, no suspension. So people were pissed. Goes from boos every time he touches the ball to 24, 4, and 5. Starting to get his rhythm. Then goes from a half-court buzzer beater at halftime of Game 4 and finishes with 19, 5, and 8. And he was 3 of 7 from 3. So Jamal Murray has had this very unique post-season story. He's had a lot of ebbs and flows, which is not typical of Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray typically is the guy you can trust to take care of business almost every game within a series, all 4 quarters. And we've seen a very unique game from him in the sense that, yeah, it may take him an entire first half to find his rhythm offensively, and that's not normal for Jamal Murray. But when he finds it, then we see buzzer beaters. Then we see he lights it up from the 3. Then he becomes crucial offensively and efficient offensively, but not until the second half or only in 1 quarter. So very unique. But I think that Coach Malone said it best post Game 3 when asked about Jamal Murray being booed every time he touched the ball. He said he relishes in these moments. He loves this. And I do believe Jamal Murray loves being, 1, underestimated. And 2, I think he likes being the bad guy a little bit. I really do. I think he was the bad guy with Lakers fans because he absolutely, the buzzer beaters, I think, were just so heartbreaking for Lakers fans that they had no choice but to hate him, rightfully so. And then the whole injury report thing, he's not playing. Woo, this is our opportunity. This is our moment. Then he was playing and he absolutely smoked the Lakers. So became a Lakers villain. And now we're seeing him with the Timberwolves, the whole heat pack thing, the whole, he had a buzzer beater today. We had one at the end of the first quarter with Jokic. We had one at halftime with Jamal Murray, and we just saw a very efficient performance from Jamal, despite very tough defense thrown his way, which I think there were a lot of times during this game that I actually felt like, ooh, yeah, they've got him on lock, and then he found a way. He just is that guy. And has he been a frustrating player to watch as a fan? Yes, 1,000%. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like he hasn't been super inconsistent and given me heart attacks almost the entire postseason. Murray was always ice and fire and pitbull terrier, but he knows game, nothing new. It is nothing new. I think people who have been fans of the Nuggets for a long time, I think there's a lot of people that have fresh eyes on this Nuggets team, meaning they did not watch this Nuggets team consistently over the course of the regular season or the year before last, before they had won a championship. But obviously, winning a championship put them on the map in a lot of different ways. And so I think those that have watched Jamal know that he's always been capable of this. And this is the most inconsistent we've ever seen him. But we kind of forget about the inconsistencies when he's got the buzzer beaters and these moments where he's shrugging and mean mugging. I mean, he's just very fun to watch. When he's on, there's nobody like him. I want to talk about the bench. That is another key point. I wanted to talk about, first and foremost, Jamal Murray in his villain era. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, I do want to talk about who I think the X factors are moving forward for this Denver Nuggets team. And our bench is one of them. I'll get a little bit into Justin Holiday and how wildly impressed I have been by his game. But there are 2 X factors. One is a group, one is a player. To me, this group of people and this one person determine whether or not the Nuggets win the series, and I'm not kidding, and potentially another championship. First, I want to go through and say MPJ only scored, 4 points tonight, I believe? 4 points. So we can win without him offensively. I think defensively, he obviously, we saw it last year as well, can make a huge impact if he's not producing offensively. He had 4 points tonight. Jamal, as I just said, has been inconsistent all postseason long. Nikola Jokic can't do it all himself. We saw in Game 3 against the Timberwolves that when Jokic focuses on facilitating and we don't depend on him the entire game to score points and everybody else steps up, it's an unstoppable Nuggets team. Feels like common sense to say that, but it's the truth. We can't just depend on the fact that Nikola Jokic is the best player in the world and he can do it all. and he's unguardable. Yeah, that may be true, but when the Timberwolves did find a little bit of an answer for him, we were in trouble. KCP, we know, can make a huge impact defensively, but offensively is very, very inconsistent. That's nothing new. So that leaves Aaron Gordon, who to me is absolutely an X factor moving forward, not only in this series, but in the postseason, period. We have talked about when Aaron Gordon focuses on his game, which is that aggressive, going body to body with everybody, doesn't try to do too much. And I've mentioned the threes and him not shooting them because it's not his game. Well, Gordon is 8 of 9 in the last 3 shooting threes. So he told me to shut the F up. That's for sure. Noted. Oprah Winfrey once said, "Were you silent or were you silenced?" Aaron Gordon has silenced me. Consider me silenced on the threes. Keep shooting them, AG. They look great. But when Aaron Gordon shows up and does his job, pretty simple. 2 plus 2 equals 4. When Aaron Gordon shows up and does his job, I don't think a single team can beat the Denver Nuggets. Not one at all. To me, Aaron Gordon is arguably the most important starter in the starting 5. He can lose a game for the Nuggets and he can win a game for the Nuggets. And I know it's a team sport, but to me, Aaron Gordon, when he knows how to make an impact on both sides of the floor, but just there were times I felt like in the Lakers series he was doing too much. I do think he was a little banged up, so I really, really think that resting period between game 2 and game 3 was crucial for AG. But when AG is on, to me, there is not a single team that can beat the Denver Nuggets. Not one. So Aaron Gordon to me is a huge, huge X factor. In addition to Aaron Gordon being an X factor, I think our bench is also an X factor. Justin Holiday might have the best plus minus in the series.
Hey, Brandon Cristal here, courtside. Well, just off the court. I guess I'm not technically courtside, but the Nuggets with another big road win. They go to Minnesota, not once, but twice, come away with a victory, and they've evened the series back up now at 2 games apiece. As Michael Malone just said in his post-game press conference, we have home court back, and he said we need fans on Tuesday to bring it like they've never brought it before. I'm paraphrasing, but a huge night from so many people. Aaron Gordon, it's hard to call it a quiet 27, but that's essentially what he had. And then, no. Hey, here we go. Let's
Is happening, everybody. Sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties, chat. StreamYard just doesn't want us to thrive out here. What's going on? But we have BK in Minnesota that we're going to chat to any minute now. He's going to tell us his perspective from Minnesota on the things that he has seen and noticed. Really excited to chat with him. So once we get him in, we'll chat. But chat, how are you? Sorry about that, guys. We had a technical difficulties. If you were here with us post game 3, we had a very similar thing happen where right off the bat, right at midnight, they said, time to go home, time to go to sleep. Joey says, seems like the Nuggets can let Anthony Edwards get his as long as they keep the rest of the team in check. Absolutely. I said this, I think, post game 1, that Anthony Edwards will continue to do what he does. He will have 40 plus games, 30 plus games multiple times across this series. But that's another point that I want to talk about. If you were on here earlier and you were hanging out with us earlier, you know I talked a lot about the 2 X factors of this series for the Denver Nuggets, and that is Aaron Gordon and the bench. When Aaron Gordon plays his game and does his job and goes body to body with anybody and everybody, plays on both sides of the ball, this team to me is unstoppable. I don't think a team can beat the Denver Nuggets when AG is on. Truly. You had MPJ score 4 points tonight. We know offensively KCP is wildly inconsistent, so we don't need him every night to be producing offensively. Jamal Murray has been very inconsistent. Obviously, I think he's found his rhythm in his villain era, but we know that he is very inconsistent, and Jokic just can't simply do it all. In game 3, I think I liked that version of the Nuggets the best because Jokic wasn't prioritizing scoring. He was doing a little bit more facilitating, forcing everybody else in that starting 5 to really step up, and it paid off big for the Nuggets with a very convincing win in game 3. So, AG and the bench, major X factors. We also talked about Jamal Murray being in his villain era. I mean, ice cold to buzzer beaters to 32 when he was supposed to be injured to buzzer beater at half this game. Jamal Murray looked incredible. So I think we should hear from BK in Minnesota. Mostly, I want to hear about the crowd reaction, BK, of Jamal Murray's buzzer beater at halftime. How did those Timberwolves fans? I know just game 3 when I talked to you last, you said the Timberwolves fans got pretty quiet halfway through that game. Was it a similar story today in game 4?
It really was. And when you've got a great home court advantage, because what's interesting about this building, and if you can see behind me, the suites that you can see in the suite level, that's it. There's no second suite level or 2 or 3 levels of suite. So it's a
Yep.
smaller gym. I think it
Yeah.
holds 15 or 16. It's really loud. It's maybe the loudest place in the league or close to it. And so if you can take those fans out of it, it's just eerie, right? Like it is anytime a home crowd gets silenced. And for the second straight game, as much as the fans tried to get into it, and when I came back up at halftime, because I was walking out of my seat as Jamal flipped that up and it went in, and the reaction was like, oh, even when it's not your team and you make that. And Anthony Edwards had one that almost went in at the end of the third quarter. But it is really really crazy. So when I was coming back from halftime and making my way just back through the crowd, a bucket went in early, and you could hear them wanting to get back into it. But the Nuggets were able to just maintain that double-digit lead throughout almost the entire game. you could sense it with about 2 minutes left. You could see how tired Minnesota, their players were, especially Anthony Edwards, but just trying to get back in the game. And I think some of those late offensive rebounds for the Nuggets really highlighted how tired Minnesota was. And when they cut it to 7, you're like, okay, are the Nuggets going to screw around here? And they didn't. They were able to close it out inside of 2 minutes the way championship teams do. And now you've got a young Minnesota team, even though they've got some vets in Gobert and Conley, obviously, and Cat too, for that matter. But a young Minnesota team that I think is probably reeling a bit. I asked Michael Malone about momentum, and he said, pregame he didn't want to say anything other than they won a game on Friday. But now he goes, yeah, it feels like we regain momentum. We have to keep that, and we need the fans to come out Tuesday and go through the roof.
So Ball Arena, please be loud on Tuesday. The Nuggets will need it. I saw you tweet a little bit about the exhaustion that you were able to see from right there in Minnesota by the Timberwolves. I want to ask you a little bit. I personally feel that this Nuggets team was on some BS against the Lakers. They were playing with their food. Then they went down 0-2 against a Timberwolves team that very quickly reminded them you cannot play with your food in the postseason. Do you think going down 0-2 in this series was probably the best thing that could have happened to this Denver Nuggets team?
Well, they obviously were refocused. I guess the argument on the other side is if they won the first two, then they would have been up 2-0 or had they won the first one. But I think, and I mentioned this to you Friday night when we talked post game, that they not only reminded the rest of the basketball world they were the champs, they needed to remind themselves of that. And I think they did, right? And you know that Nikola Jokic is going to play like an MVP, and he did. Jamal Murray has given you 2 really good games with obviously a calf that's not 100%, but he's adjusted to what he needs to do, and he's doing a great job of getting the ball to Jamal, something Michael Malone, I know you're going to play his comments here coming up, but said when he can get the ball to Jamal in the pocket, it just allows their offense to run the way they need it to run. And so you have those 2 guys doing what you expect, but then you're going to get nights like this from Aaron Gordon. And when he can get you 27 and be such a big factor scoring the basketball, and then Justin Holiday knocks down some threes, and Christian Braun comes in off the bench, Reggie Jackson with a big 3 and a big charge. When you can get 27 points from your bench, 27 points from Aaron Gordon, you're going to win most nights. And that's how a championship team needs to play. It's interesting, though. It's clear that Justin Holiday has just taken Peyton Watson's playing time, and you can't fault them for putting an 11-year vet in there. That the moment's not going to be too big, and I'm not saying it was, but he'll step into a shot and make it. He'll play feisty defense, and he's not going to hurt you because he's not going to do anything crazy that a young player might. And I'm not saying that's who Peyton Watson is, but you just don't have to worry about it, right? You've got an adult in the room when you've got an 11-year vet out there.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that you said it best. Going down 0-2, obviously nobody wants that. We would have rather them defend home court, go up 2-0. It would have felt a lot more comfortable. But I do think that this Nuggets team thrives off of being underestimated. And I felt like that was the motivation that they needed. What do you foresee now? They're coming back home. Obviously, they did not defend home court very well in game 1 and game 2. Do you foresee the momentum continuing into game now 5 and hoping that the Nuggets get a win at home?
Yeah, I think that assuming they just continue to do what they do, and that's be the best starting 5 in the league with solid contributions from their bench, they're just a better team, I think, than Minnesota is right now. I get Minnesota won those first 2 games, but the Nuggets have been there and done it, and they are built for championship runs and understanding how to play in the postseason. So they came out of the break, right? 21-6 after the All-Star break, but it was still just a race to get to the playoffs. You mentioned they were playing with their food against the Lakers. They knew they were going to get by them. It's just, okay, how does that go? Well, Minnesota's a whole different animal. At the same time, they took Minnesota's best punch really in game 2, but also an ability by the Timberwolves to close out game 1 that was obviously close late. And then they've come back in their buildings, totally taken the crowd out of it 2 nights in a row, and win by almost 30 on Friday, and then win obviously basically by double digits going away the whole second half and controlling the game and making big shots and frustrating the Timberwolves with their own physicality. The refs kind of letting them play. Scott Foster not really being a factor as it relates to Joker or Michael Malone, but just out there and doing what they do and imposing their will, right? I get that Minnesota came in and kind of punched him in the mouth and beat him up pretty good. But again, they're reminding everybody why they are the defending champs with the 3-time MVP.
Agreed. I want to talk a little bit about, we have spent some time here in the studio, you and I, on Hoops Your Daddy alongside Shelby Harris, talking a little bit about Michael Porter Jr. being the most consistent offensive player across this postseason stretch. What was your perspective of him tonight? Obviously, plus minus, he was still +5. What kind of angle do you think he approached this game with?
Well, he was there. There were times you could tell that he was trying to get a shot, and then they closed out on him, and so he had to either swing it or put the ball on the ground. So he only took 4 shots. But part of
Mhm.
that is an understanding that okay, Jamal's obviously going really well. Aaron Gordon
Yeah, he didn't need to.
is having a great game. So all he has to do is just continue to run the offense, set
Yep.
screens, try to play defense. I think you saw the frustration when Gobert catches that lob dunk in the, I guess, was that early in the fourth quarter, middle of the fourth quarter,
Mhm.
and so when you got that, I'm just making sure they don't take me off the internet, guys. I'm just finishing up live, so if you can keep me for another minute or two. So hopefully I don't go away. But I think MPJ knew that he didn't have to do too much. And so I think that you just let the game come to you. And when other guys are going, other than that defensive lapse, and I'm sure that Michael Malone will tell him about it like he did on the court, you don't need MPJ to put on a cape every game. You'd like to see it. But if Aaron Gordon's going like that and you get 10 from Holiday and 11 from CB, then you still, I mean, he's out there for 35 minutes. He grabbed 3
Yep.
boards, right? I think that it's one of those where you're not expecting this to be every single night, but he can have an off night or take a night off and they can still find a way to win. It gives you an idea of how deep this team can be when the bench is contributing like they are.
So one last thing for you, BK, before they kick you off the internet and force you out of there. First of all, happy Mother's Day to your lovely wife. What
Thank
a
you.
what a
Yeah,
good Nuggets win. Yeah, I'm
she's
sure
happy the
she's
Nuggets won, but I think wish the game would have been yesterday, perhaps.
absolutely, and that is fair. So happy Mother's Day to her. And last thing, that Jokic dunk. Tell me about the feeling, the vibe. I mean, I saw a clip of it on Twitter. Can't imagine. I think I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. What was that like? Because I feel like, people talk about his game kind of being slow and lackadaisical. And was that the best dunk we've seen in Jokic's career? Because it sure felt that way a little bit.
I don't know, but it was impactful. It was interesting, right? So he recognizes that he has a path to the basket, and none of those big guys, specifically Rudy Gobert, are there to affect that. But I want to say Jamal was wide open in the corner. And so you thought,
Mm,
oh, he's going to go to the rack, pull a little bit of attention that's there. It was like Conley maybe and Edwards. And just kick it to Jamal, who's wide ass open. But instead he just punches it and you're like, oh, all right. And
little aggression,
I'm
yeah.
sitting by Jason, our great photographer, and some other Denver media. We were all kind of in the same area, and Vic Lombardi, and everybody's like, whoa, all right, didn't necessarily see that. Is that it's at the very least maybe the best playoff dunk he's ever had.
Love
We
it.
know that Joker doesn't live above the rim, but he it's weird to think that he had a quiet 35 because it wasn't that quiet, but it's like there's a methodical approach when the shots were there. That
Mhm.
floater, as Malone talked about, and you'll hear it when we play his post game comments. It's devastating. And so instead of looking for that pass to AG on the lob, he's just going to go ahead and shoot it. And so he ends up with 35 points, looking like an MVP.
And exactly, looked just like an MVP. I quote tweeted and said that dunk was for Shaq. So shout out Shaq. You lit a little fire under Jokic, which it's already been there. Jokic is the best player in the league, maybe in the world, and obviously an honor to have him on the Denver Nuggets. Makes every game pretty exciting when you know he's out there. So, BK, any final thoughts? I know you're sticking by your Nuggets in 7, and that's looking pretty sweet. I mean, they're back in this series. We have a series now. It feels really good to be able to say that after game 2.
Yeah, and when we look at the empirical data, I guess my final thought is I may have to amend Nuggets in 7 to Nuggets in 6, right? They've
Woo!
clearly figured some things out, been
Yep.
able to execute their game plan, deal with Minnesota's physicality, deal with their adjustments, and play Nuggets basketball, right? We hear Michael Malone talk
Yep.
about Nuggets basketball all the time, but we've seen Nuggets basketball the last 2 games here. And so there's no reason to think that won't continue until they are proven otherwise. And that certainly can be because Minnesota takes them out of what they want to do. But over these last 2 games, like I said off the top, we were reminded who the Nuggets are, and they reminded themselves who they are.
Absolutely. Well, get home safely, BK. We will have another Hoops Your Daddy episode filmed right in the studio. You and I talking all things. Hopefully, a win after Tuesday. We'll be talking
Well,
about
yeah, and
all
maybe
things.
Tuesday night I'll join you to preview it. To
There we
preview
go.
the
Let's do
Wednesday
it.
Hoops Your Daddy. Yeah, awesome.
Let's do it. We'll see you soon. Have a safe flight. Wish your wife a happy Mother's Day and go Nuggets.
I will. Yeah, happy Mother's Day to all the great moms out there.
Absolutely. We'll see you later. Chat. Lot of good stuff coming from BK out in Minnesota. Obviously, we are super, super excited about the win. And BK has been able to be out there getting a different, fresh perspective. He's been talking to people in the locker room. He's been getting sound for us in the post games. So really excited to have him out there. Obviously, big sacrifice to be there instead of with his wife on Mother's Day. So shout out to BK, member of GUerilla Sports, also the sports analyst for KOA here in Denver. We also have a wonderful sponsor. This is presented by Landmark Lincoln. So shout out to Landmark Lincoln. Chat, how are we feeling? We're going to hopefully get some sound here, either from Malone or Murray. The players, as you know, like to take their time. So we may be waiting for forever to hear from guys like Jokic or maybe Jamal, but definitely we will talk to Coach Malone, I imagine. But chat, how are you guys feeling? We've talked a little bit about Jamal Murray being we've talked about Jamal Murray being in his villain era. We've talked about AG and the bench being X factors, and BK just doubled down on that as well. So we've had a lot of good things to talk about. We actually do have our Jamal sound ready to fire up for you guys. It's actually going to be Jamal talking about CB. And if you guys don't know a thing about CB, which if you didn't before, you definitely do now. Not only was he massively impactful last postseason, we've seen him impactful this postseason. And this guy just plays like a winner. He's actually won at every level of basketball that he has played. He has won a championship, high school, college, and with the Denver Nuggets last season. So excited to hear what Jamal Murray has to say about CB. We'll have that sound coming up shortly, if not now. I'm not sure. But that is going to be the next little bit that we have. We were tossing to BK. We'll hear from Jamal. Said that my producers are saying it's ready. So let's hear from Jamal Murray on CB.
Jamal, you've been talking about wanting to get Christian Braun to be a runoff. Just what is he giving you guys, especially with a fourth quarter three for you?
Just confidence, man. He goes in there and his main job is to defend and put pressure on the other guy and, rebound and cut timely cuts and all that and get on the break, and he does all that. But when he's shooting the ball, confidently, it changes the lineups out there. There's a lot of belief out there, and he just does a great job of embracing the moment and the challenge. And like I said, he's a winner. Even from last year, I saw it, and I just think he has more to give, and he's still young. So we're gonna keep on pushing him as a group, and I think he's just taking all the criticism, all the advice with the open ear. So that's another thing I think why he's so good. He's willing to listen.
Willing to listen. You love to hear it. CB, like I said, won on every single level, and we've actually seen him. He was the only player in game 2 to have a plus, to be in the positives for plus minus. He was the only one. CB is a serial winner. He really is. CB is not one to be messed with. I don't think he is. I think he's going to be a bench guy for the Nuggets that, like Jamal said, is going to continue to get better and better with more reps. Snowwolf says Nuggets in 6. Whew, I hope you're right. Joey says, seems like the Nuggets can let Anthony Edwards get his as long. Yes, we talked about this one a little bit earlier. Keeping the rest of them in check is huge. And I want to actually go back to that. Ant chirp at Jamal? I don't think I saw that. I was too busy stressing, honestly, even though we were up in that game. It's never over until it's over with Denver Nuggets basketball. If you know, you know. AG going into his people mover mode just unlocks everything for the offense. It really does. Like, I cannot stress enough how important Anthony Gordon. Hello, wake up. Happy Mother's Day. Aaron Gordon. Oh my Lord. Anthony Gordon. I mean, similar vibes, similar energies in this game, I guess. Future 6 man of the year for CB is not a bad conversation. I could absolutely see it, especially if he just continues down the path. I mean, I feel like he's gotten better every time he's out on the floor. You see something about CB that you like better than the last time. So I think if he continues down that path and the Nuggets continue to be a successful team, that is not a bad bet. Obviously, I'm a betting woman. I would sprinkle on that. I said a little bit ago, I think it was after the Timberwolves Nuggets regular season game at the very end of the season, I said that Peyton Watson for Defensive Player of the Year a few years from now would be a play, but if he's not coming off the bench and he's not getting minutes, obviously don't love that as much. We're seeing Justin Holiday be far more impactful coming off the bench than Peyton Watson, so I get it. Yep, CB and Justin X Factor from the bench. And actually, Reggie did not have a bad night. We just didn't need him as much because Jamal was actually Jamaling. So that made a huge difference. We didn't need Reggie as much. But when he was out there, he was doing what he needed to do, which was obviously great to see. We know Reggie Jackson minutes can be excruciating at times, and very nerve-wracking. So to see him get out there and produce was great. Let's talk a little bit about Anthony Edwards, because obviously the dude is insane. He ended with, I think, 44 points. 44. He was 5 of 8 from 3, 16 of 25 from the field. Anthony Edwards is virtually unstoppable. But one of the notes that I took is this Wolves team bodied the altitude when they were in Denver for game 1 and game 2. They stole 2 on the road in Denver, which that to me, altitude, I know people are sick of hearing about it, but it makes a difference in Denver sports. It absolutely does. I think most Denver teams are great at defending their home court or home field because of that factor. And the Timberwolves bodied that in game 1 and game 2. Will and can Anthony Edwards score 40 plus again? Yes. I actually think that that's a very likely situation. But should he have to do that? No. What I think we're going to see, especially when Anthony Edwards is giving so much energy on both sides of the floor the entire game, every quarter, all series long, I think that there will be some fatigue that affects the Timberwolves in game 5. I'm not banking on that being the reason that the Nuggets can win that game, because obviously Anthony Edwards is young and very talented. So I don't think that that's going to stop him, like I said, from scoring 40 plus, 30 plus, whatever it may be. I think he's still going to get his points. He's still going to make a difference on both sides of the floor. But this might be where we see the Denver Nuggets pacing themselves mentality pay off for them. I know as a fan, we're sick of seeing it. We hate the slow first halves. We hate seeing them go down 0-2 in a series. We hate seeing them play with their food. But I think a positive way to word what we've been seeing with them is they've been pacing themselves. I'm not saying it's the right way. I'm not saying it's a smart way, but that's what it looks like this Nuggets team has been doing. All of a sudden, we're seeing them put their foot on the gas and we're going, this is Denver Nuggets basketball. This is the team we know. We knew they were capable the whole postseason, but we haven't really seen that urgency from them. We haven't really seen them put their foot on the gas from start to finish. I think game 3 was the first game we actually saw the Nuggets play 4 quarters of basketball. Coach Malone said it. They actually started with a good game of basketball. They started from 0-0 all the way through 48 minutes of basketball. And we haven't seen them do that in the postseason, aside from game 3 and now game 4. So were they pacing themselves? Were they saving their energy knowing that this Timberwolves team is not the Lakers and they can't play with their food? Maybe. I didn't love it as a fan. It made me sick. I was a nervous wreck watching this Nuggets team pace themselves, but we may see that start to pay off for them in game 5, in game 6, in game 7, when this series goes the distance, because Anthony Edwards, again, having 44 points is something he can probably do again, but he shouldn't have to, because he's exerting a lot of energy on both sides of the floor. And we're seeing this Timberwolves team having to exert a lot of energy in game 3 and game 4, having to fight back in the second half to either stay in the game or get back in the game. So now back-to-back games, we have seen them be pushed to their limit. Anthony Edwards scoring 40 plus and hustling on defense might affect them as they roll into game 5 with the altitude factor involved. So fatigue might be something we have to consider for the Timberwolves. Obviously, the Nuggets in back-to-back games overexerting themselves to stay in games or fight back in games probably exerted a lot of energy for them as well. But then they had that really nice long break between game 2 and game 3. And I know Coach Malone said he actually didn't like the break. He would have rather them played 2 days later and keep their momentum alive. But I think now we're seeing a situation where you stick the Timberwolves after fighting so hard in game 3 and game 4 in some altitude may affect them. Will Anthony Edwards still score? Yes, it's Anthony Edwards. I don't worry about that. AG and the bench played their ass off. Yes, they did. Those are the 2 X factors that I have for the rest of this series, and honestly, the rest of the playoffs is Aaron Gordon and our bench. Justin Holiday from the corner has been poetry in motion. Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. I actually said, I don't know if you remember, Hoops Your Daddy quite some time ago. We'll have to find a clip of this because I always say I have good takes, but then people don't believe me or they only pull up my bad ones. I have a lot of bad ones. Hate to break the news. I have a lot of bad takes, but I do very specifically remember sitting down with BK and saying that my X factor for this series was Justin Holiday. Quarter 3 coming off the bench could be huge for this Nuggets team, and we're seeing that with him right now. Justin Holiday, I think, has had the best plus minus for the Nuggets in this series so far. He's been huge. And again, we're seeing him get those minutes over a guy like Peyton Watson because he's a veteran. He's been here. He's done this. He doesn't get rattled by being down 0-2 in a series. Now, I'm not saying that Peyton Watson does, but I think when you're a coach like Coach Malone, yeah, you're probably going to take that veteran against a young Timberwolves team. You want as many vets locked in on the Nuggets side as humanly possible. And we're seeing Justin Holiday be just that off the bench, which is huge because I think the bench has been a problem for the Nuggets for quite some time. It's been an area that Nuggets fans stress over, and we're seeing our bench produce very, very well right now. CB, Reggie, when he needed to tonight, wasn't horrible. We know that his inconsistencies, I get it. As a Nuggets fan, trust me, you don't have to explain Reggie Jackson minutes to me at all. I've felt him. The heart rate has increased over them. I get it. But our bench has been doing their job, and it makes a huge difference. Aaron Gordon has also been doing his job, and it makes a huge difference. So, chat, before we wrap things up, I'm not sure if we'll have any more sound for the night. Like I said, we're typically just waiting on the players to get out there, Coach Malone to say what he needs to say. But in the meantime, sounds like we'll have one more clip from Jamal Murray, the man of the hour. We'll have one more clip from Jamal Murray. But in the meantime, what are our updated predictions and feelings on the series? I have had so many people in my mentions. I could probably find a tweet right now of people saying, you gave up after game 2. I did, in fact, tweet, this series feels over after game 2. I did tweet that. Full transparency. I tweeted it. But that's because they were playing horrible basketball. The Timberwolves, to me, had the best defensive performance that I have seen ever in the postseason. So, yeah, I felt a little scared and sick, to be honest. Didn't love that at all. But when we saw the Nuggets have an answer for going down 0-2 after getting punched in the mouth, very, very different feeling after seeing what they can do in game 3, what I knew they were capable of. And a lot of people don't get it twisted. It's not like I saw one bad performance by the Nuggets and gave up on them. We're talking a whole postseason. There has been now 2 games I have been happy with as a Nuggets fan that the Denver Nuggets have played across a stretch of 9 games. 2, that's it. Because they haven't been playing Denver Nuggets basketball. They've been playing with their food. They were building bad habits against the Lakers. They didn't have one strong first half against the Lakers. So I didn't feel great. The series did feel over at the time. Did I give up too quickly? Maybe. Maybe I did. But again, they've been very out of character in this postseason. So it was for good reason. I did say the series felt over. I didn't say it was over. It did feel over, though, however, after game 2. So, yeah, maybe I gave up too quickly. But here we are. 2 back-to-back wins on the road by the Denver Nuggets, playing pure Denver Nuggets basketball. And when they do that, they look like a team that cannot be beat, period. I said already that whoever wins this series to me is winning it all. I think these are the 2 best and most well-rounded teams in the NBA. And I think if the Nuggets have enough fight in them to come back 0-2, steal 2 on the road, win this series to advance to the finals, the Western Conference Finals, yeah, I think they have everything in their arsenal to win another championship, without a doubt. The Timberwolves, to me, have always been the opponent that I fear the most. They've always been the opponent that I have been the most nervous about facing in the postseason. So they've got to continue to do what they're doing. If AG giving you 27 points, no way y'all lose. I'm telling you, Aaron Gordon is the X factor here. If he can do what he does, I don't worry about this team at all. I think that they are unbeatable when Aaron Gordon does his job. And you actually don't even need Aaron Gordon to score that well. Obviously, he did tonight, which was huge. But he just needs to be present, both sides of the floor. I think when he starts doing too much and then you see these messy turnovers, there are some games that Aaron Gordon to me is more of a liability than anything else. But when he's not, and when he does his job, that physical game, going body to body with anybody, playing with aggression, whether he's putting 27 up on the board or not, I don't think that we'll see MPJ only scoring 4 again. So you don't need Aaron Gordon to score 27, but you need him to be engaged, involved, aggressive, and not turn the ball over, period. And when he can do those things, to me, this team is unstoppable. So yes, AG, massive, massive X factor for this team moving forward. I think that we will have a Jamal clip here soon. Hey, Liv, I remember a while back you were questioning why Gordon was shooting so much from the 3. At the time, I agreed with you. I'm glad he's proving us wrong. Yep, another bad take from Liv. But actually, no, listen. I stand by what I said, because at the time that I said that, Aaron Gordon was ice cold from 3. And he would always take a 3 when it was like crunch time. Like, no. These are the things you practice, like, not right now in a playoff spot when there's like no time left and we're down. You just don't take the 3. But now he is 8 of 9 in the last 3 shooting 3s. He shut me up. He sure did. He told me to shut my mouth, and I'm okay with it. Listen, I won't talk about his 3s again until he starts bricking them and I start getting upset. But until then, keep taking the shot, AG. You proved me wrong, and I am okay with that. We have a clip ready to go, fired up from Jamal Murray. So let's check out what he has to say.
Jamal, you've talked about how the belief has always been there, and not that you guys wanted it to play out this way, but did Game 2 kind of wake you guys up?
Oh, for sure. We faced the Lakers how many times, and we're so familiar with them. They're so familiar with us. It felt like a different type of game. And Minnesota, they're so much better, I think, defensively. With all their weapons out there and how much switching they do, the full court press. Doesn't matter if I'm bringing it up or Aaron, they're still full court pressing. So, I think Game 2 definitely, Game 1 was a battle, but I think Game 2 definitely woke us up, and we realized we can't hold ourselves back. We got to just play the game and trust each other, and that's what we've been doing. So we spent a lot of time together off the court, and yeah, man, we just want to get do it, and if we're gonna win or lose the game, we just want to make sure we all going out, together and playing hard.
What did I just say? Did I not just say that? Did those words not exit my mouth exactly? Shout out, Jamal. Yeah. Game 2 was an effing wake-up call. So for those of you on Twitter in my mentions saying you switched up, you're damn right I did. And thank God so did the Nuggets, because they saw their performance Game 2. They looked at the scoreboard and they know what time it was. Quit playing with your food. It's not funny anymore. You could BS with the Lakers all you want because you're 12-1 in the last 13 against those little boys, but these are grown men we're dealing with here. This felt like middle school to high school basketball. I'm just saying. No offense, Lakers, but I'm just saying. So yeah, it is a very different series. It's a very different team, and I think that Game 2 made them realize, yeah, we can't be doing the cruise control. Everybody's chill. We have a first half to figure it out. We don't need Jamal to be hot. Nope, Jamal, fire it up. This ice cold behavior is not going to work. Not against the Timberwolves. It did against the Lakers, not against the Timberwolves. And that's exactly what he just said. What was up with MPJ's game tonight? Pretty much had a bad night. So we just tapped into BK. He is down in Minnesota. And I asked him about MPJ. What was his perspective while he was there? And he just said, MPJ didn't really need to do what he's been doing over the course of the postseason. MPJ only took 4 shots. He was 2 of 4 from the field. He didn't really need to take the shots that he's normally been taking. Across the postseason, collectively, MPJ has been the most consistent offensive player for the Denver Nuggets and been very needed offensively for the Denver Nuggets. But when you have a guy like Jamal Murray that shows up, when you have our bench producing, MPJ doesn't have to be that guy all the time. So I think that there was more of a maybe he stepped into that defensive approach that we saw him in last postseason when his threes were not falling and he kind of seemed like his game was going mental. We saw him really tap into that defense mode. Listen, as long as he's making an impact, I don't care. I don't care about him only having 4 points. I don't. Just make an impact while you're out there. And I think that's what we saw from MPJ. He just was in a position where he didn't need to be that guy, so he wasn't that guy. What I love about this Nuggets team is I think that most, if not all, of the members of this starting five, and we saw this when Jamal Murray hit the game winner against the Lakers. His entire team rallied around him. His coaching staff rallied around him and said, keep taking the shot. They will fall. And when they needed to fall the most, they did. But it's because he never stopped taking the shot. His teammates encouraged him the whole game, despite being ice cold, keep taking the shot. I think that this Nuggets team, aside from having the championship experience, aside from the ability to not be rattled, and we've talked about that a million times, this Nuggets team's ability to stay unrattled, calm, cool, collected, and get themselves either back into a game or back into a series is unmatched. And it is absolutely their weapon. But in addition to that, their chemistry is also their weapon. It's a very cohesive group, and I think that works in their favor a lot. So when you have a guy like MPJ who's only got 4 points, hey, it doesn't matter because guess what? Aaron Gordon showed up, Jokic showed up, Murray showed up, and our bench showed up. So we can have a KCP with 3 points. We can have an MPJ with 4 points because everybody else stepped up and said, you're good. They've got you locked up, MPJ. You're good. Take your 4 shots. Be done with it. We're good. Our offense was running through AG. Our offense was running through Jamal Murray. Our offense was running through Jokic because MPJ, it couldn't run through him tonight, and that's fine. So I wouldn't say it was a bad night for MPJ. It just wasn't his night. He wasn't going to be that guy tonight, but he didn't have to be. Now, when it's not his night because he's being locked up defensively and Aaron Gordon doesn't show up, yeah, we're in trouble. We're in big, big, big trouble. So again, that's what I think works so, so well for this Denver Nuggets team is their ability to pick up the slack when somebody's off. Because Jamal Murray's been off a lot this postseason. And for the most part, it hasn't mattered. Totally agree with that. 100 emoji. Shout out to you, Heartbreak Collision. Chat, before we wrap things up, and I don't really want to, there's 2,700 of you right now hanging out with me on Mother's Day. Shout out to your moms. Give your mom a hug. If she's not near you, send her a coffee, Venmo. If she's not with you because she has passed, I am sorry. I'm praying for you. And moms are great. So happy Mother's Day to all mothers out there. Moms genuinely run the world, and I firmly believe that. I am a dog mom, so I am not, like the mother that needs flowers today or anything like that. But my mom is my best friend. I could not live this life without her. She is the greatest woman that I know. And if you haven't told your mom that you appreciate her today, please do before you can't anymore. To those that can't anymore, I'm praying for you. And I'm sending love your way. But happy Mother's Day to all the moms. Didn't mean to get a little deep right there, but it's Mother's Day and I love my mother. So had to go there. But chat, any last thoughts, any comments we need to put up on the screen that you want me to shout out, anything you have to say before we wrap things up, because you need to go say hi to your mom. Okay. Happy Mom Day, Liv. Go Nuggets. Go Nuggets. Oh, just feels so good. Happy Mother's Day, Liv. Thank you, Gary. Thank you. I am a dog mom, so I'm a mother, just not, not a mother, Never wavered off of Nuggets and 6, and I'll stick with it until it's mathematically impossible. That's fair. Yeah, listen, did I give up a little too quick in game 2? Yeah, I maybe did. I got a little bit emotional, to be honest with you, because here's the thing. There's a difference between just being bummed because you lost. There's another whole thing about being humiliated. And as a fan, I felt humiliated post-game 2. Full transparency. I love listening to your commentary after the game. You're awesome. Keith means the world. I really, really appreciate that. So wanted AG to have I know, Michael, wouldn't that have been great? But he did what he needed to do. And honestly, a dub is a dub. A win is a win. And shout out AG. Lucas says Aaron Gordon was ridiculously efficient tonight. A huge game from him. And would you look at that? We won. Aaron, I hate to do this to you, but there's a lot of pressure on you moving forward because when you are efficient on both sides of the floor, this team is unstoppable. You are the X factor. You have the ability to win a game and lose a game. Just you. I know, a lot of pressure. Doesn't seem fair, but when you're him, when you have nights like tonight, sorry, it is what it is. That was the most fun end of a first half I've ever seen. I want that. Is there a way to get a video clip tattooed to your body? Because I would like to. Jamal Murray, what the F? I mean, that was something else. That was something else. That was crazy. You guys, the Nuggets are playing Denver Nuggets basketball, and that's all we could hope for at this point in time because the Nuggets are back, Snow Wolf. You said it. You said it. I do think this series will likely go the distance because I just don't want to tell myself that we can win 2 more back-to-back and then be disappointed because I do think the Timberwolves are a good basketball team. Looks like the title defense is still alive. Listen, the Nuggets are again reminding this is what BK said that I think tattoo would go hard. Wouldn't it, Tyler? Okay, Tyler's with me. I might have to do it. I think BK said it best when we tossed to him. Like I said, he's out in Minnesota right now getting us all types of footage and content. So shout out to him, member of GUerilla Sports family, as well as sports analyst for KOA here in Denver. But what he said, I really, really loved. And that is not only are the Nuggets reminding everybody why they're the defending NBA champions, but they're reminding themselves. And I think that is wildly important as we move through this series, as well as the remainder of the postseason. The Nuggets have to remember who they are. You have to be a smart basketball team in order to win a championship. You have to have talent. This to me is the best starting 5 in the league. Period. Listen, guys, I know I said we're wrapping up, but I just love you so much. So much. We are going to get out of here in the next 10. Next 10. Promise. Swear. But I want to hear from Aaron Gordon. We have some Aaron Gordon sound, and I think we would all appreciate hearing what he has to say. It's not ready just yet, but once it is, we will play it. We'll react to it. We'll hang out for another second, and then we will go give our moms a hug. That's the plan. And hopefully get good night's rest knowing that the Nuggets have tied this series. I no longer feel like I could cry because they're in this. This is a series. They just made this a real interesting series now because they got smacked in the mouth and then they turned around and did some mouth smacking, and here we are. Series is tied. Jamal has found his rhythm. Be warned. Be warned, Timberwolves fans. When Jamal finds his rhythm, I get a little scared for everybody else. Very happy for myself. Very scared for everybody else. So shout out to this Nuggets team. Again, reminding themselves, most importantly, of who they are and what they're capable of. And like Coach Malone said, he made a little clip. He put together all the media heads. Hopefully I wasn't in there. Giving up on this Nuggets team after game 2. Saying the series was over. Like I said, hopefully I wasn't in there. I actually got to meet Coach Malone. I was in Cherry Cricket getting a cheeseburger with my family. And one of Coach Malone's friends that he was there with is actually a former TCU Horned Frog. So he ran up to me. He's like, "Hey, you went to TCU. I've seen your content. You talk about the Nuggets, and this was at the time when I was with The Volume. Oh, you work with Colin Cowherd. Oh, that's so cool." I was like, "Yeah, my gosh, nice to meet you." And I hear all this like chatter and clapping and all this different stuff. And it's Coach Malone getting a cheeseburger after the Nuggets had won a championship. Super cool. And yeah, Coach Malone, I introduced myself. He's like, "I've seen your stuff. I've seen you talk about the Denver Nuggets before. Nice to meet you. Like I've actually seen your content." I thought that was super cool. So maybe there's a world where we can chat and hang with Coach Malone right here in the GUerilla Sports studio. I don't know. Maybe we'll make it happen. Obviously, he's focused right now. We're not gonna distract him from his job at the moment. But Coach Malone, super cool. We were trolling the Lakers a little bit. There's actually a video somewhere on my social media where he was doing like the sweeping motion. And of course, Lakers fans were super in their feelings when they saw that post. But got to meet Coach Malone. That was super fun, super cool. And he had seen my stuff before. So, it's one of those things where I'm like, oh, well, hopefully you only saw the good stuff. Because I've talked my shit before when I've gotten a little irritated, not going to lie. It's amazing how the narrative has changed, but also momentum has swung the Nuggets' way. Let's go Nuggets. That is right. Shout out Nuggets and Brews and all you do, all the Nuggets content that you produce. If Nuggets make the finals, will you take shots again? Yes. I might take them anyway. Whoa. Excuse me. I do not have a drinking problem, but I will take shots regardless. But yeah, super will take shots if the Nuggets make the finals. Absolutely. Let's take it one game at a time, win game 5, then we can worry about it going 6 or 7 games. You know what, Casey Mack, you're right. Let me slow my roll. Let me chill out for a second. You've got a point. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Yeah, no, there's a lot of work to be done. I mean, they still have to win 2 more times. So this could be a serious battle. And I think it will be. I think Anthony Edwards is not going to go down quietly or easily. It's going to be a dogfight. We will have clips soon of Aaron Gordon, the X factor of the Denver Nuggets. I said what I said. And yeah, 30 seconds we'll have it. So 30, 29, 20. Kidding. I won't do that. That's annoying. But we will have some sound from him in just a moment. Hopefully he is talking about how he's going to continue to do what he's been doing because we need him to. We need to keep the pressure on the Wolves and make them work on defense. We also need to target Edwards more on defense to tire him out. I'm going to be honest, Nuggets and Brews. I think that Edwards is going to be tired, period. I mean, this man is hustling all game long, both sides of the floor, and scoring 44 points. Like, I think he's going to be tired regardless. Game 5 will be very interesting, throwing the altitude back at him because I know they bodied it just fine in game 1 and game 2. But I'm with you. Personally, Nuggets and Brews, the only thing I'm going to disagree with is I don't think that we can slow down Anthony Edwards. I think we can try, but I think Edwards is just him, to be completely transparent. I just don't think that he is going to be slowed down by this Nuggets defense. So I think slowing down everybody else around him is more likely. So that's what we should do. Either way, let's talk to Aaron Gordon, but let's hear from Aaron Gordon on what he thinks about game 4 and hopefully maybe what he thinks about game 5. I'm not sure what he's about to say. I'm listening to it for the first time. So let's check out what Aaron Gordon has to say.
Aaron, Monday after game 2, you said we need to go get one game Friday, and that'll give us momentum. Then I asked you in passing in the locker room, I said, did you get that momentum back? And you said, yeah, I think so. So now, after this performance in these 2 games, can you feel that momentum shifting back in your favor?
Well, we got home court advantage back, so now we got to just do it on our home floor. I love how our group responded. With our backs against the wall, we put ourselves in a good position. Now we need to take advantage of it.
You guys, I'm sorry. Forgive me, chat. Did you see his face when they first put the camera on him? I'm going to be honest. I'm a little slap happy right now, but I am trying not to cry. He was like this. Did we?
Aaron, Monday after game 2, you said we need to go get one game Friday, and that'll give us momentum. Then I asked you in passing in the locker room, I said, did you get that momentum back? And you said, yeah, I think so. So now, after this performance in these 2 games, can you feel that momentum shifting back in your favor?
Well, we got home court advantage back, so now we got to just do it on our home floor. I love how our group responded. With our backs against the wall, we put ourselves in a good position. Now we need to take advantage of it.
I'm sorry. He looks okay. I'm hoping he's just crazy focused right now, but he looks scary. I'm scared. Anyway, I'm sorry, guys. It's been a very long day. I got a little frightened. It was a bit of a jump scare, but Aaron Gordon basically said what we know to be true, which is this Nuggets team does very well with their backs against the wall. Chat, talk to me, chat, because I need to just read a comment or 2 right now before I absolutely lose it. Come on, you guys felt the same. That was a bit of a jump scare. He looked wild. KT says, hey, Livy Liv, what's going on? I'm proud of your success. Thank you. Heartbreak collision. You get it. I'm sorry. That was crazy. Did we activate a monster in Aaron Gordon? I'm cool with that, but that scared the crap out of me. TJ, I'm glad you think it's funny. That was crazy. Took me by surprise. I've never seen him like that. Anyway, guys, wow. I just had to fight for my life because you know that when you get to that delirious state of mind where something is funny, but it's really not that funny, and if you let yourself let it out, it's a wrap. Like, if I would have really let myself laugh just now, I'd still be laughing, tears would be falling, and you'd be irritated. Look, you're kidding. You're kidding me. You guys, be for real. Please be for real. He looks scary. Have we ever seen Aaron Gordon like this? Have we ever seen? I want Timberwolves fans to see what this man looked like after 27 points. Okay. He is not effing around anymore. This man is not playing any types of games anymore. I have never seen him like this. I've never seen Aaron Gordon look like that. So be warned, Timberwolves, because you have unlocked, I don't know what, but that is a scary looking face, and he is about business right now. And I am fine with it. Did it catch me by surprise? Yes. Was it a bit of a jump scare? Yes. But 27 points. Well, what do you have? 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. I'm cool. If that's the face, he's standing on business. Period, TJ. You said it. That's a man that is standing on business. That's a man that just scored 27 points and is going to do it again because he knows that he's the X factor. Said what I said. That's the face of an X factor. Did I not call him an X factor this whole show? I did. And that face, it's giving X factor. Y'all, that is the face of an X factor. You heard it here first. 27 points for AG. Absolutely dominant performance and even more dominant post-game expression, period. Okay, on that note, before I lose my marbles, because we're there, folks. You guys, look at how many of you are still here hanging out. This is nuts. It makes me never want to end these streams, but we must. We must, because I will be live again Tuesday night. If you guys like it, if you guys like tossing to sound from post-game, if you like hearing from the Nuggets, BK should actually be in Ball Arena getting some stuff for us. So if you want us to toss to him as well, we can continue to do this. I appreciate you guys for always being here and hanging out. I don't even know how long we've been live, but I do know last game we were live for 2 hours. We did not leave the studio till like 12:30 in the morning. So I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me. We will have more of this. Yeah, shout out to our sponsor, Landmark Lincoln. Shout out to BK, who was in Minnesota, getting some sound for us, getting some content. But we always appreciate our sponsors. So like I said, shout out Landmark Lincoln. This episode of Hoops Your Daddy is presented by them. Look at those leather seats. Look at that interior. You're kidding me. You're kidding me. But yeah, you guys, we'll be back again post game 5 to talk all things Denver Nuggets, Minnesota Timberwolves, and hopefully the Nuggets continue to play Denver Nuggets basketball, because when they do that, when Aaron Gordon puts the mean mug on, it's a wrap. I don't know what else to say. We have the Nuggets now, series tied 2-2. They stole 2 on the road, but guess what? The Timberwolves also stole 2 on the road, so nobody is safe anymore. Game 5 in Ball Arena. We'll be back in the studio going live, talking all things Denver Nuggets. I appreciate you guys for being here, and we'll see you Tuesday. See ya.